Gender and language. Women are considered to be more petite and soft, gorgeous, and sexy. Consequently, their language shows conciliation, docility, and assertiveness. Difference in the use of the language. Language is used by the both men and women, but somewhere in its course of development, it gets divided between two parts, male and female, as per social and the cultural norms. Language mirrors, records, and transmit differences. These gender differences can be marked in the various ways. Men and women are socialized to express themselves in the appropriate social language that teaches and reinforces differentiated gender roles. Three questions can be lead us to clarify our point. Do men and women speak different language? The answer is no and yes. Though because it is the same language they speak, in this case, let us say English is because their phrases, expressions, and intonations are so different that they appear to be speaking different languages. Do they use your language differently? Yes. Otto Jespersen in his book Language, Its Nature, Development, and Origin observes that the men have many expressions peculiar to them which women understand but do not use. On the other hand, women have words and phrases which men know of but never use of fear of being scorned at. That is the reason the language of the man and woman appears different. Is there gender bias in English language? Yes, this bias is obvious in the manner in which language uses women. Women are ignored when the words such as he or man signify woman too. For example, everyone must do his duty. Here the pronoun his denotes woman also. Man is mortal. In this sentence, man also means woman. In both these sentences, her presence is ignored. These are known as the masculine generic and are masculine gender and a widely accepted language also defines women's status. Men and by inference gives them secondary position. Now let us look at the titles of the respect. The female nouns of some words are derogatory like the dog, witch, wizard, witch. Similarly, words like lady, doctor, lady, lecturer specify gender unnecessarily. Terms of endearment used by men for women like the chick or babe highlight how language devalues women. Have you read Henrik Ibsen play A Doll's House? In it, the reader comes across many terms of endearment that Nora's husband used for her to show his love. Is language sexist? Sexist language is a language which includes women and consider men as the norm. It shows gender bias. For example, the sentence each student must write his or his name on the paper leads the reader to assume that students are all males. The presence of female student is not considered. This exclusion is devaluing, it encourages discrimination and is also offending. Factors influencing language. Biological factors can be studied from the three angles that is a voice, phonology, and the intonation. Women have a thin voice as compared to men's gruff voice, and their voice frequency is almost twice as high as that of men. Psychologists say that speaking in high pitched voice is a physical limitation, but socially it is associated with their timidity. Intonation. There are two types of basic intonations, which is a rising and the falling. Women usually answer a question with rising intonation, which suggests their docility and gentleness. Besides lack of self confidence, phonology pronunciation comes under phonology. Women pronounce words in a better manner than men do. For example, women pronounce the letter R softly, as in chair, which sounds like the chase. In English, the ending ing, as in the running, walking, writing, is pronounced fully by women, while men miss the last G and pronounce these words as run in, walk in. Women's pronunciation denotes use of proper formal language, compliance to accepted social expectation and politeness. Men's pronunciation suggests the assertion and the informality. The above example drawn from the situation of language uses in the American context. And the cultural factors also. It is a dominant factor in maintaining language identity. It is a blanket term. Within it, several diverse groups live and operate, which are called as subculture. There is a subculture of men and also subculture of women. Men and women belong to their respective subcultures, and these subcultures mold their behavior, pattern, language use, and conduct. As per the expectation of the subculture, women use language that is not aggressive or adventurous. In larger groups, they remain silent but speak. In the smaller groups, the conversation aims to build friendship, loyalty, quality, and such other traits. They usually speak of simple, domestic, or the personal matters which men consider ridiculous. On the contrary, men choose to work in the larger groups. They want power, control, and status. They like to compete and win, and they dominate the conversation. These cultural differences in the male and female groups lead to the different ways in which they converse. Two examples from the literature will illustrate the above points. In the William Golding's novel Lord of the Flies, we get a fine example of how boys can be aggressive or forward. The language and the games driven them.